Fakhruddin Razi. Fakhruddin Razi, also known as Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Umar ibn al-Husayn Fakhruddin Razi, was born in the Persian city of Ray in Iran. Fakhruddin Razi was one of the outstanding figures in Islamic theology, philosophy, and polymath, making his intelligence and profound insight was widely recognized by everyone. Most famous works of Fakhruddin Razi are Mafatih al-Ghaib or Kitab al-Tafsir al-Kabir, The Keys to the Unknown or The Great Commentary, and Muhassal Afkar al-Mutaqaddimin wa al-Mutaakhirin, collection of the opinions of ancients and moderns. His intellectual and innovative thinking earned him the title of the renewal of the faith. Fakhruddin Razi passed away at the age of 16 in the Khawarizm near Herat in 1209. In the centuries after his death, Muslim philosophers and theologians were to turn to his works frequently for guidance.
Fakhruddin Razi was a really prominent scholar. Most of his perspectives were influenced by political situation in Central Asia, specifically before the Mongol conquest. He came from an academic family background, which his father is an expert in theology and law. His father was a second-generation student of the major Ash'ari thinker. This explained his intelligence in many areas of knowledge. Razi started his early education by being trained on rational theology. He was enrolled in two different schools, which was Ash-Shafi'i School of Jurisprudence and also Ash'ari School. In his lifetime, he went to Nishapur, which were known as the center of education, to pursue his study. This is where he found Al-Farabi and Ibn Sina work. This has later become the central project of his career as a philosopher. He also studied with a notable scholar, Maragha, who is known for teaching many intellectuals. The first phase of his career was last for 2 decades, and he was enjoyed the support of Khawarizm Shah. In the second phase, after the victory of Ghurid over Khawarizm Shah in military, he joined Ghurid and became a close companion and a teacher to the Sultan Riyatuddin and contribute to the Ghurid court. However, unfortunately, he was accused of his loyalty towards the enemies of the court and was involved in religious rivalry between Ash'arism and Karamite theological movement.
He was also participating in debates with other jurists and theologians in Transjordania to defend and promote Ash'ari Kalam and Shafi'i legal thought against his opponents. In debate, Razi portrayed himself as the only respectable scholar among a swarm of dimwits. The third phase was in the end of his life, which he rejoined the Khawarizm Shah after they take over Herat from Ghurid.
Next, we will dive into the works of Razi that is related to psychology. First, Tafsir al-Kabir, also known as Mafatih al-Ghaib or the Great Exegesis, is one of the most renowned works written by Fakhruddin Razi in 12th century. It consists of detailed verse-by-verse analysis and interpretation of Quran. In this book, Razi also discussed about the concept of soul, emotion and spirituality, human cognition, behavior and human connection. Next is Kitab al-Mabahis al-Mashriqiyah, which is also known as Eastern Investigation, examining the distinction of human in the aspect of character, intelligence, and behavior. It also comprised of the discussion and commentary on Ibn Sina's ideas, particularly concerning the soul and individuality. The third one is Matalib al-Aliyah. The book consists of the discussion of nature of soul and cognition, where Razi argued about soul as a single entity of all cognitive actions. In this book, he also discussed about the soul as an immaterial being. Last but not least is Kitab al-Nafs wa Ruh wa Sharquahuma, also known as the Book of Soul and the Spirit and the Explanation of their Faculties. It consists of the discussion on the nature of pleasure and its effect on individuals' life. In this book, Razi highlighted the distinction between bodily pleasure and intellectual pleasure.
Moving on to the contribution of Fakhruddin al-Razi. Fakhruddin al-Razi made significant contributions to developmental psychology by arguing about the ideas and concepts of Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina's beliefs on human behavior and personality were contested by al-Razi. Furthermore, Ibn Sina's held that all souls are identical and that intelligence, personality, and behavior are influenced by one's physical composition and surroundings. This statement was then turned down by al-Razi. The reason being, he pointed out that humans with similar upbringings might have different morals and personalities, proving that personality cannot be predicted just by environment. Other than that, al-Razi also held that a person's soul, not external factors, is the source of their essential characteristics. In favor of the idea that nurture has little effect on human development, he also noted that certain personal characteristics remain despite changes in an individual's physical characteristics or environmental circumstances.
Contrary to al-Razi, John Locke's tabula rasa theory argues that the mind is a blank slate, and all knowledge is shaped by individuals' experiences and external influences. According to Locke, human development was determined by nature rather than nurture. Razi asserts that humans are fundamentally unique, while acknowledging the impact of nature on human development, in contrast to Ibn Sina and John Locke, who thought that nature was the only factor influencing human growth. Razi adds that although humans are fundamentally unique, nature does play a part. Razi's contribution to the nature versus nurture controversy are therefore still under debate in developmental psychology.
Multiple studies had found that materialism has negative effects on the mental health of many people. Materialism is one of the philosophical schools of thought that only focuses on a physical or material world and denies the presence of metaphysical world and supernatural beings. Nowadays, materialism is often associated with stress, social media addiction, and dissatisfaction in life. In al-Razi's book, Kitab al-Nafs wal-Ruh wal-Sharkuwahuma, he differentiated between bodily pleasure and intellectual pleasure. He asserted that fulfilling bodily pleasure, such as eating and drinking, will not give human long-lasting happiness. Instead, the happiness for satisfaction of bodily pleasure is temporary. He emphasized that intellectual pleasure, such as seeking knowledge and the pursuit of divine connection, is the source of true happiness in life. According to al-Razi, spiritual happiness is the highest happiness in human life. Al-Razi's ideas provide us an insight in which humans should not only focus on satisfying bodily or physical pleasure, as it only provides them with temporary happiness. Instead, he asserted that humans should focus on fulfilling intellectual pleasure. However, in our perspective, humans should balance between bodily and intellectual pleasure, as both pleasure are equally important in individual's life. For example, as a Muslim, completing prayer and studying is important as it is part of ibadah and to fulfill intellectual pleasure. However, if we only focus on intellectual pleasure and neglect bodily pleasure such as eating, it will negatively affect our health. The deterioration of health will hinder us from doing ibadah and satisfying the intellectual pleasure.